Welcome to the Outdoor Man Adventure, the show that brings hunting and conservation together. I'm embarking on a trip to see if it all goes together or if I'm just wrong. So just stay tuned, sit back and enjoy.
I am in Warwickshire, Deerstalking. I'm off with Sam from Southern Shooting has organised this for me. When I contacted him, told him my plans. He's kind enough to film for me as well, which is makes my life a lot easier. But the reason I'm over here is because at the moment, because of COVID, the deer population has boomed and nobody's really shot the deer in the last 18 months because the restaurants and pubs have been shut and there hasn't been a huge call for venison. But the problem is, just because we're not shooting, just because the pubs aren't shut, things still need to happen. And I wanted to make a programme on Muntjack. So, you know, muntjac are a really invasive species. I love the species of deer, to be honest. They're a funny looking creature. The little ones are really funny looking, like little piglets, real squat little animals, and they just make me smile. But to that end, they eat well too. So I like to put them in the freezer. But not only that, I want my daughter to understand, or my daughters to understand, where food comes from. Well, not just where food comes from, but the importance of clean food. I know, supermarkets have got abundance of it, and I wouldn't stop buying beef and I wouldn't stop buying chicken because farmers have got to make a living too. But where I can, I want to put meat in the freezer for myself and for my family.
When doing anything like this, nothing ever goes to plan. I've done this a few times and had to re-record things and all sorts. But this morning, getting the rifle out of the cabinet, I managed to dwang the scope against the side of the cabinet, getting out because I've got too many in there for well, not too many in there, it's just a tight cabinet. And now at check zero. It's always worthwhile just checking zero, Kurt, because we were out a little bit.
Another shot. Don't touch anything. How many bullets did you buy?
40. That's it, rifle zero, time to move off and get gone, see what we can find. Where I am is a lovely estate. It's designed for shooting, but absolutely had an abundance of wildlife. As you see through this episode, we're standing in a few places and we just wait and see if deer comes out, and we're sort of sneaking and snurgling around. And we had quite a hell of a walk at Stalk because things just weren't right and things didn't work out as we wanted to plan. But on the backside of that, we saw a lot of wildlife, and it just shows you or us, anyone really, that actually how conservation and shooting comes together. So at this point, this is the first place we stand. I just have a bit of a wait and see. As we were stood there, we actually had a couple of roe deer, rodos come out and graze in front of us, but we weren't interested in them at the wrong time of year. And muntjac was what I'm really after here today. One, because I love eating them, and two, they're such a pest, such a problem that they need culling massively. Like I've said, 30% each year they rise, and that problem's just getting worse, especially with COVID. You can't help, you know, we can't help this problem, and there's going to be more accidents on the roads. That means more injured deer, possibly injured people. You know, there's plenty of videos online of cyclists getting twanged by deer, let alone cars having accidents. And none of us are going to be safe with them numbers like that, because you know you've got to have a little one in the car, and yeah, a good day could turn into a very bad one. So muntjac deer, actually the smallest species of deer in the UK. It's sort of characteristically, they have a haunched appearance. Their bums are actually higher than the shoulders. They sort of slope on forward. And bucks actually have a small little set of antlers, which we'll see later in the show. Sort of little spiky things, absolutely awesome. You know, it's all called tines. The females obviously a little bit shorter. They don't have the antlers, but they're good looking deer. I love the deer personally. I've got a real passion for this deer, and I love to eat it as well, don't get me wrong, but they are an awesome little thing. So we finally find a muntjac where we can sort of get a shot and we see him. This stalking isn't your traditional stalking, not like you do up in Scotland on the stags or anything like that, but this way we're doing it is actually, it came in from Europe. It's getting bigger and it's more effective, especially for the control side of things, and it allows you to pick and choose a little bit, see if there's more there, if you want to change game plan. There's loads of different options available to you now with the way technology moves on, and you can get a better game. Like I said, you can get a better game plan. You can pick out a deer. You know, if you was trophy hunting, you could pick that out. If you were just culling, and there's 3 or 4 deer there, but you only see one through your scope, you're actually looking through the spotting scope through the thermal, and you pick up 3. You can sit and you can play and you can do more. You've got more time on your hands. It gives you a lot less chance for things to go wrong. This way you're in more control of your destiny, and that way you shouldn't wound. There's less chance of you wounding an animal and getting away and you getting what you want, all at the same time. I say this a lot and I don't want to draw it out, but anybody who says they are not moved or touched by taking an animal's life or anything like that, and they don't feel anything, I think are either in denial or lying. Everything you do has an impact on yourself, and this is no exception. This, I feel sorrow. I feel, oh, should I really done it? But in the long and short is, I want my people to know why we need it. It's necessary. It's tasty. I eat meat. What's the difference between me doing that job myself or going to Tesco's and buying beef? An animal still dies, but you don't feel the same because you don't see that animal. All you see is the meat. Now, don't get me wrong. I couldn't have my own chickens and kill them. I can't go that far. But what I am happy about is that deer is clean. It is drug-free, completely natural, and completely and utterly full of taste. And that is something that you really rarely be able to buy from anywhere. Butchers you may, if they have wild game in instead of farm venison, but it's very, very, very rare to come home with something so precious, so great, and such an honour to be able to do.
Just having a look. Yeah. Does it sound again, is it?
Yeah. And everything. And then follow that. You see its trachea and its food pipe. That's it. Then just cut behind it all the way to its. Yeah. Just leave it there.
So it's that time of day to head up and go home, and I cannot complain about what I've done today. It has been fantastic. I don't generally buy stalking. I don't generally do this sort of thing. This is a first for me, and I've seen everything. I've seen small songbirds, I've seen pheasants, I've seen partridges, I've seen rabbits, I even saw a stoat, fallow deer, roe deer, muntjac. All of them just a combination is great. Now, people watch Spring Watch or Country File or anything like that, and you get all that value, but you don't get to hear about what happens. You don't get to hear that Spring Watch actually were on a working shoot, and they've got all these fantastic animals here, but it's actually a gamekeeper that deals with it. It's a gamekeeper that manages it, and it's this importance that I want to push across to anybody really who would listen and just be against it. That's fine, but at least understand. And that's exactly where I'm coming from here. It's not, this video isn't just about shooting muntjac. This video is about a lifestyle. It's about a culture. It's about doing the right thing on a hard day, I suppose, is where I'm getting at. It's not easy to do this. It's not easy to go and pull the trigger and then go and deal with that animal. You know, I said earlier on that it affects me quite hard, but the outcome overweighs the means for me. And I hope that I can get that across to just some people. So this part I am not an expert at. I only skin animals for myself. I would not skin it for somebody else because I'm such an animal at it myself. I work in a job where I should be absolutely fantastic at skinning, and quite frankly it was just something I never picked up. But it's for myself. It's going to go in the freezer, it's going to make sausages, it's going to make burgers, it's going to make steaks and joints. So what does it matter? I was asked before to do a video on skinning deer and I said no because of how I feel about it. Yeah. So here I am, embarrassing myself, doing exactly that. Right, let's see what happens when I pull on this end. Boy. So here is one of the reasons I'm embarrassing myself on YouTube, especially with my skinning skills and butchering skills, let alone my video editing and everything else. This is one of my daughters who's come and investigate what Dad's up to. Now, I'm only telling her what I'm doing and where it's come from and why. If she decides she doesn't want to eat it, or later in life she decides that she's going to, you know, go out full vegan and eat grass or whatever, then that's up to her. As long as she knows on why we've got to do it, it's important people know why, and she'll be brought up the right way.